Hey, what's up, boxing fans? This is the Rope-A-Dope Report. I am your host, Chris Carlson. I'm trying out this live stream here on YouTube, Google Hangout, and all that. Just trying it out. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's working correctly. It looks like it is. Anyway, what's going on, boxing fans? We got a video here. This is an upload that is about a fight coming up. Let's hope, anyway. Obviously, the fight has to there's a fight that has to take place. It's happening this Saturday. It's Andre Ward versus Alexander Graham. Or I'm sorry, Alexander Brand. Not Graham. He's not fighting Alexander Graham. Who knows how much it will even be competitive, how many rounds Brand, if any, he will win. But let's just assume he's going to win. Okay? So this video here is a preview for the Andre Ward Sergey Kovalev fight scheduled for November 19th in Vegas at the new T-Mobile Stadium. HBO pay-per-view. I'm excited for this fight. Now, I don't know about you, right? I don't know about you, but personally, I think the winner of this fight will become the best pound-for-pound fighter. Now, hear me out. You know, it matters how the person wins. If the person wins, right, and we don't really think they won, you know, like that, it's a tight fight or scorecards are crappy or whatever the fact. I mean, I'm just saying whoever comes out the winner and it is actually the winner, to me, is the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Now, Roman Gonzalez, maybe in the last couple of fights hasn't been maybe at that top level, but the last handful of years, he definitely earned his stripes at the lower classes. Definitely the flyweight wars, you know, those were fun, and he was part of that, and he came out unbeaten, although him and Estrada still have some unfinished business. So I'm not saying there's not other choices. It just personally, Kovalev, Ward, whoever wins this, I believe will be the best pound-for-pound fighter. Now, in the last couple of years, Andre Ward's profile has, clearly shrunk, right? It's gone down. Whereas Kovalev has done the opposite, right? It's gone up. So we know that Andre Ward had a bunch of issues, with his promoter, whether you agreed with them or not, or whatever the case. The point is, he was on the shelf, and Kovalev was active. He was crushing, right? He's the crusher. He was crushing people, and he beat Jean Pascal. He beat B-Hop, and he's not officially the lineal. He tried to get Stevenson all he could. You know what I mean? That's more politics or Stevenson not wanting to fight, whichever it is. Kathy Duva would have more blame than Kovalev in that situation. But, obviously Stevenson has the most blame because the fight was on the table. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I've been going back and forth about this fight for some time now. I really have. I've been stuck on it as far as picking a winner. A handful of years ago, not now, but a handful of years ago, fresh off that Super 6 victory and just the damage he did there, he was looking like one of the top guys out there, period. Andre Ward was. But we know that time has gone by and the stock has dropped. And it's funny because boxing has a way of working just in strange ways. That really didn't make much sense. It has its ways of working stuff out, I was going to say, but also kind of swaying it. It's very much, what have you done for me lately? That's what the business is. What have you done for me lately? And lately, Kovalev's been crushing, and Andre Ward has been just trying to get back. Now, if we go, Kovalev, what have you done for me lately? Just the last fight against Isaac Chilemba, it changed some people's minds out there. Some people thought, oh, man, they watched that fight. Andre Ward's going to beat him. He's going to outbox him. If he had problems with Chilemba, how's he going to handle Andre Ward? And, one fight doesn't say everything, right? Obviously. I mean, look at the perfect example. Leo Santa Cruz against Mares. That was a recent fight. And Frampton against Scott Quigg, a recent fight. Now, Quigg in the last, 5 rounds, pushed the pace some and then ended up getting himself right back into that fight. So people were kind of looking at Frampton like, man, I mean, Quigg didn't even really put the gas pedal down and he was winning rounds. What do you think Santa Cruz is going to do? And vice versa. Santa Cruz had shown another layer to his game against Mares, so it kind of changed the perception. And definitely the perception has been changed, I'd say somewhat. Now, I'm not ready to jump off the ledge and be like, oh, man, that one fight, it's a wrap, It's a wrap. Darnell Boone, you could go back and look at both these guys fighting Darnell Boone and find something in there. Let's start it by saying I got a couple of points here. I'm looking down at some notes just to make sure I get everything. Let's start out by saying, in my opinion, Sergey Kovalev is the best fighter that Andre Ward has faced. I see that to be true. Now, some will argue Carl Froch because he's had a longer career. Well, I shouldn't say longer, but I'd say he had a harder schedule in a couple of years span than Kovalev, I guess you could say. But for me, I think it's up a weight class. Froch has power. Well, so does Kovalev. Clearly, he's got a lot of power. So I don't really see a difference there. As far as Froch having an advantage there, I think Kovalev has even more power, maybe. But also, as a come-forward aggressive fighter, I would say that Kovalev's better at that. Now, he's going to be aggressive, but he's not necessarily just face first. Froch has a jab, Kovalev has a jab, but to me, it's not just face first. You know what I mean? He has really good footwork to close that gap. He's very fluid when he punches. I think he can kind of react on the way in or just in general using distance and he's just real smooth, kind of in and out. He kind of bounces in and out rather than just full steam ahead at all times. I think that's it. I think Kovalev's better than Froch off the eye test and seeing some fights, with both of them. But on the flip side, I would say Andre Ward is the best fighter Kovalev's faced. Now, some people, Andre Ward versus B-Hop or Nard Hopkins, where do you historically B-Hop definitely has an advantage there, no doubt about it. But I'm saying when they fought, I would say Andre Ward's better than B-Hop, even though, past 50, got some really good wins and performed very well. I mean, he tried against Kovalev. He didn't get knocked out. He could have. There's people that, especially his age, but people in general that would have maybe just folded up the tent and said, I'm good. Right away he was hurt in the fight. So I don't know. I believe right now Andre Ward, because of the hand speed, I think they're kind of similar fighters as far as craftiness, being able to do some things on the inside, outside control range. But I think Andre Ward is better than the B-Hop that he will have faced, a couple of years back there. So I think it's, both guys are facing their best opponent. And we've seen Ward have some problems, like I said, with Boone and minor stuff. There are some people that thought Carl Froch closed really well in the last handful of rounds, in that they saw something there. Obviously, like I said, Darnell Boone and then Chilemba. Let's talk about the Chilemba fight. Now, I only gave him 2 rounds, and one of them was a close round. So for someone that's going to say, that whole fight changes my complete mind on it, I just don't agree with that. But Chilemba has that awkwardness, right? And I would say Andre Ward's kind of awkward, but he's versatile, very versatile. And if you look at the jab and the left hook that Chilemba was able to land on Kovalev, he did have some problems with that. He definitely did. So I could see switching up that left hook and jab, even to the body, whatever. I could see that being very effective. So I think you'd have to say that that's something that he did have some issues there. Now, he said he was sick. He said the last week it was hard to focus because he was at home in Russia. And that's cool. All that stuff may be true, but he did have some issues there. Obviously, time off, right? Long chunk of time. And when you start to add it up, though, I think Andre Ward is going to have enough time now to be ready. You know, there was some in between. Is he going to be able to get to the third fight? If you add it up, that's 4 fights in the 5th camp. So last June, that's 1 camp and 1 fight. Then last November, like fall time, right? He was supposed to fight, so he had a camp there. That's 2 camps. Now, you know, he had that swollen knee, so he ended up not fighting, but that is 2 camps. Maybe not completely full camps, but he did go to camp. Then he had the March fight, right? So there's a 3rd camp, and now he has a camp for this fight coming up this weekend. So that's 4 camps, 4 fights, and it'll definitely be 5 camps now that he has gone through. So I'm not as worried as maybe last year. If I were in his corner, I definitely would have wanted him to have this amount. You know, when he signed the deal, it was 2 fights with HBO and then Kovalev. And there was some in between because of that swollen knee if they were going to be able to get this off, but they did. So time out of the ring, yes. And then when I say these fights, it's not like he's been fighting hard competition. So I think the camps and just being sharp. And obviously that means more. Every fighter wants to be sharp at what they do. But when you fight Kovalev and you're going to use some of the skills that Andre Ward's going to use, you got to be sharp, right? So there's getting back in the groove of things, and then there's sharp. And he has to be on his A game from Jump Street, right off the bat. Another key point is the referee. Obviously, judges, you know, we know how that can go. But the referee, will he allow a clinch? Will he allow holding? Will he allow rough housing, rough play by both guys? Whether it's hitting low, whether it's hitting on a clinch, whether it's rabbit punching, whatever it is. And while we're speaking of the clinch and the inside, you know, come forward-wise, I would favor Kovalev. You know, on the outside or at distance, on the move, I would favor Ward. I think that's obvious. My question I pose to you, and something that's kind of going through my head, although I'm doing the crazy signal, it's going through my head is, who's the better fighter on the inside? I don't think it's that bad of a question. I know a lot of people are going to go Kovalev, dude, obviously, but does Kovalev just sit right in front of you and grind you down in his attack? I mean, if you're going to sit on the ropes, he will, but he's very in and out. He's very aggressive. He's coming, but he's smart. He's patient. He's smooth with it. He's got good footwork, fluid punches. He can change a punch right when he's throwing it, you know, to adapt to what he's seeing. So, but on the inside, just banging it out on the inside, getting short shots on the inside, you tell me, who is the better fighter there? A lot of people may want to say Kovalev, but I've seen Andre Ward do great work on the inside. That may be a key right there. Yeah, I just think that the more versatile, the more A, B, and C game plans will be Andre Ward. But I really like how Kovalev comes forward. He's got a jab, but he comes forward and he mixes his punch-ups to whatever's open. Now, sure, he's come forward, face forward before, and maybe looked bad or something, you know, getting hit or whatever, not caring. But to me, I really think this is a 50-50 fight. I really do. And the fact that he'll be on his fifth camp, or at least 4.5, let's call it, right? Andre Ward, I'm speaking of. That really bodes well for him to get back in his group. So right now, like I said, this is just a breakdown preview video. The fight's not till November. Let's hope. Let's pray to the boxing gods that nothing happens to Andre Ward. Even if you don't like him, I know the last year and a half, a lot of people hate Andre Ward now. A lot of it has to do with the gap of time, some negotiation stuff from the past, other stuff that I don't really agree with. Some of it, some I don't. But also a lot of it, let's be honest, it started last summer. Golovkin and Ward, that whole thing. So let me know what you guys think. Obviously, give me a follow at Rope-A-Dope Radio on Twitter. We got boxing news, boxing banter, and just a variety of stuff. You know what I mean? I talk it all. Different sports, politics, yada, 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 right? Social stuff, goofy stuff, funny stuff. And also check out the Rope-A-Dope Radio podcast at Rope-A-Dope Radio. Oh, I'm sorry. At blogtalkradio.com/Rope-A-Dope Radio. That's where you can listen live. 6 on the West, 9 on the East, and 2 UK time. And you can listen to it anytime there. Download it at iTunes, SoundCloud, wherever the hell you like to check it out. I'm sure it's there. Anyway, let me know what you guys are thinking on this one, man. I got to admit, I'm stuck on this one. I'm really stuck. I don't know where I'm going. Does that Chilemba fight change my mind? Not totally. Not really. I'm stuck on this one. I got to admit, I've been favoring Kovalev when the news started to come, the last year or so, that this fight's going to happen and they're going to work towards it. So I'm leaning Kovalev right now, but I'm not quite ready to call it. You know what I mean? Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Does the Chilemba fight change your mind? Does all these years off change your mind? Maybe just the style. You think, like I said, I think each fighter's fighting their best fight or best opponent. Maybe we're going to see someone get exploited. You never know what happens. Anyway, you guys enjoy the fights this week, and let's hope that nothing happens. Peace.